Savannah, Georgia, and I'm starting this video a little early because I love these big huge bridges. When these big huge bridges go into town, I love going over these things. This one isn't as cool as a lot of them, but this is a city that doesn't provide the FBI crime stats. There's a lot of cities in America that don't provide the crime stats to the FBI, so there's no real way to know how good or bad the city is. So I'll just have general statistics for the city. But I thought I'd film this bridge. I guess it's kind of cool while you're on it. There's a lot of cooler bridges, but this one's pretty cool, I guess. And this is a city that has a population of 148,000. So it's a decent sized city. Not huge by any means, but it's a good sized city. And it looks kind of cool from up here. You can see it off to the left there. It looks kind of cool from up here. It's 52% black, 35% white, 5% Hispanic, and 2% Asian. So it's a pretty diverse city. Mostly black and white, but pretty diverse. So far no graffiti, so that's a good sign. Typically on these blocks here, on these ramps, you see graffiti in the bad cities. So, but if they're not providing the crime stats to the FBI, there's a reason. If the numbers were really good, they would want to be bragging about it, and they would want everyone to know about how good the city is. So the fact that they're not providing that, I mean, you got to kind of figure there's a reason why they're not doing it. Whoa, dead deer on the side of the... Wow, this is a weird place for there to be a deer. You got to figure there's a reason that they're not providing those numbers to the FBI. Here we go. Savannah welcomes you. You got a nice sign. The city didn't look very tall. It doesn't look very tall right now either, the downtown. Actually, there's kind of a lot of garbage too. Well, we're just going to look at it. We're kind of going to get our own opinion of what it, what we think the crime is going to be. So far, no graffiti. There was a bunch of garbage right here to my right. So anyway, tourism is one of the main drivers of the economy here. It's a big tourist city. I'd never been here before, so I was kind of happy to be able to come here. It's one of those cities you see the pictures of those tree-lined streets where the trees cover the whole road, and the road there's like that iconic picture of the streets here, and it looks kind of pretty. It just seems like a place you kind of want to at least see once. Also, the port they have here is one of the larger drivers of their economy. It's supposed to be the largest, well, one of the largest ports for shipping containers. So that is a huge driver of their economy as well. We'll go down this way and check a little more of the downtown out. Yeah, there's garbage, but so far there's not a lot of garbage. Not enough to be like this is a bad city, but you really have to wonder, and if anybody has any idea of why a city doesn't submit their crime numbers to the FBI, other than the fact that it's a bad city and they don't want anyone to know about it, because tourism is the #1 driver of their economy, then leave that in the comments, because I'd like to hear why people think that they won't, yeah, look at all this, there's a lot of garbage right here. A lot of people with, oh, then maybe that's a hotel, not just people randomly walking around with suitcases. It doesn't look like a hotel, but maybe it is. All right, well, so far it's just looking like a normal downtown. Kind of cute, I guess. That's the road I should have went down right there. We're going to go back to that road. So the average age here is 33 and 18% of the population is seniors. So it's a little bit of a younger city. Yeah, you can see that bridge we came in on. A little bit of a younger city. But it's another one of the cities where the male-female ratio is way off. It's 47.5% male. Looks like everybody's turning. I can probably go here. 47.5% male, 52.5% female. And that's another thing that I've been seeing in a lot of cities. And the cities that you're mainly seeing that in is the bad cities. And a theory that someone left in the comments on one of the videos that I put that stat in was that the guys are all in prison. And so there's more women than there are men. And that, you know, very well might be what the reason is. It's kind of cute. There's a lot of people walking around down here. It's a nice looking downtown area. They're probably, a majority of these people are probably tourists as well, because they get a lot of tourists here. There's a 46% home ownership rate, which is 31% lower than the national average. The median home value is $162,000, which is reasonable. That's 12% lower than the national average. And the median rent is $1,050 a month, which is 11% higher. So their buying a house is cheaper here than the national average, but renting one is more expensive, almost by the same margin. The average income is $36,000 a year. And there's a 19% poverty rate, which sounds like a big number because it is a big number, but the poverty rate on average in the United States is 15.1, so it's not that much higher than the national average. But it still means that 1 in every 5 of the people that live here live below the poverty line. And I'm not even really sure what the poverty line is, like how much you have to make to be below the poverty line. Hopefully this, oh, nope, that was probably not a good, oh, maybe this is a good road to go down. Oh, this is a big circle. This is kind of cute. It's got an older feel to it, but it's kind of cute. The town. This guy combing his beard, walking across the street. We'll go up and check this road. Looks like it's got a lot of stuff on it. No, maybe not. There was one road that had a bunch of like flags and stuff, and it looked like the main road that we had passed. I had already went past it before I noticed it. That I'm hoping I can get back. It might be this road. And I'm hoping I can get back up to. So, and there's a 31% marriage rate here, which is on the lower side and kind of leans towards, like, the cities with higher crime tend to have higher or lower marriage rates. We're gonna turn down this road. 1, to not sit at this light anymore. And 2, because I think this is the one I thought looked cool when we were driving. Yeah, this is the one that I thought looked cool with all these flags hanging. This must be like one of the main streets here. 55% of the people that live here were either born in Savannah or born in the state of Georgia. So a little over half. This must be a tourist group, Because she's talking and there's a whole bunch of people following her. Oh, maybe not. Oh, maybe. 6% of the people that live here are foreign born, and 4% are listed as non-citizens. So whether that number is accurate or not, we will never know. So their homicides here, they kind of fluctuate. And again, they don't give numbers to the FBI, so you're assuming these numbers are accurate that I pulled from this website. I'm assuming they're accurate, but if they're not providing information to the FBI, the numbers they're releasing may or may not be accurate. So over the last 5 years, they get between 19 and 34 homicides. And with their population, that gives them a murder rate between 8 and 14, which around 10 is considered, in my opinion, regular city bad. So they have at least as much as they're releasing. The number of homicides they have are just regular city bad numbers. And again, this is a website that I believe, in my opinion, was just kind of getting a, using their best guess in a way of what the assault rates and the murder rates are. I don't know that they're basing it on actual facts, because again, they're not releasing that information to the FBI, but they're showing their assault rates at 200 to 300 per 100,000 people. So if that's at all true, that's good. And it's showing that the thefts are down since 2018, and they're in that 1,200 to 1,800 per 100,000 people range, which is also good. But again, they're not releasing numbers to the FBI, so how this website got this information, I do not know. And I do not know if it's accurate or not. But I do know the schools here, only 30% of the kids graduate proficient at reading and math. In the state of Georgia, it's only 42%. And in the United States, we're going to try and get off this road. It's a cute road to go down, but it's not moving. It's moving way too slow. So Georgia, 42% on average of the kids graduate at a 12th grade level for reading and math. And in the United States, it's 48%. So less than half of the kids graduate proficient at reading and math in America as a whole. Even less than that in Georgia as a state. And literally around a third of the kids graduate. 1 in 3 will graduate at a 12th grade level for reading and math in the city of Savannah. So if you have only 1 out of every 3 students is graduating with the ability to read and do math at grade level, that doesn't bode well for a city and for crime, because you got a lot of kids graduating that, they're just getting the diploma and they're going on, and they're not really learning anything while they're in school. It's the downtown at least is kind of cute. It's got that older feel to it, and it's kind of cute. 82% of the people that live here completed the 8th grade, and 81% graduated high school. 81%. So 4 out of every 5 have graduated. 1 out of every 5 people that live here. Is that snow? 1 out of every 5 people that live here didn't even graduate high school. So if you do 30% of the people are graduating proficient at reading and math, of the 81% that actually have graduated, you have 24% of the population of the city of Savannah, 24% are proficient at reading and math. can read and do math at a 12th grade level. 1 in every 4. Oh, and we're going to turn on King Jr. Boulevard. I did a video once on one of the ways to not get murdered in a bad city, and it was stay off of any road named after Martin Luther King Jr. because they always seem to be running through the worst neighborhoods of town. But it doesn't look too bad. There were patches. The roads are decent. I haven't seen any graffiti. I haven't really even seen any homeless people. There were patches or areas, you know, in around places where there was a lot of garbage, and you still, if I look off to the side far enough, you can see places where there's a lot of garbage. But for the most part, I think they got, oh, there's a homeless guy right there. Just as I said I hadn't seen any homeless people, there's a homeless guy right under that bridge there on the left. Can't see it on the camera, but he's sitting there. He's got a bike with a whole bunch of stuff piled on top of it. I don't even know how he rides that thing. There's so much stuff on it. So we're going to go up here a little bit. I just kind of want to get a better feel for the city and what, you know, what the crime here might be. Because if those numbers at that, like I said, the crime numbers I gave, this website, they must have just, either they had some inside information, or they must have just pulled them from somewhere, or just kind of guessed in a way of what they thought it would be, used something like years old data or something to kind of come up with a number of what, you know, it possibly could be. That bass on that car. Let's go around this guy. But there's no way to really say how good or how bad the crime is here. And if you're the number one source of income for your town, city, whatever you want to call it, or one of two, they got the port, which is supposed to be a huge driver of their economy as well. But if your other main driver for your economy is tourism, you do not want it to get out that there are a lot of homicides, that there are a lot of attacks, that there are a lot of thefts. You don't want that information out there because nobody's going to come. That was like Myrtle Beach, you know, years ago, not even that many years ago, but, you know, go back 5 years maybe with Myrtle Beach. It was almost a no-go zone. It got so bad there. And I imagine that one of the main drivers of the economy in Myrtle Beach is tourism. Maybe the only driver of the economy is tourism. But it's not looking that bad. I mean, look at all this stuff is really mowed really well, and even looking up the blocks, it's mowed really well. But we're getting a little out of the city that maybe we'll come across something that'll, or out of the downtown a little bit anyway. That one must be hurricane damage. That fence is all down. Well, this building on the left here, that one's seen better days. Actually, both of these two on the left have seen better days. That house on the right. But the housing here, you know, it's affordable. If these stats are correct, these crime stats, this is a city like Charleston, South Carolina, that you could go to and live in a, you know, a larger city. And, well, I don't know, I guess if you consider like 150,000 people or whatever, a larger city. a decent sized city, let's say, you could go to and live and be feel relatively safe. The schooling is bad here. If you moved to Savannah, were either had kids or were planning on having kids, you would really want to check out the schools though, because if only 1 in 3 are graduating, you'd have to stay. Even if you had a good kid, you'd really have to stay on top of them to make sure that they're learning something in the school, because the only kids that are learning stuff are the ones that really want to, because 1 out of 3 isn't that good of a number. But it doesn't look, I mean, what we saw anyway didn't look that bad, and maybe that crime stats that website had were actually accurate. But I still question it, just because why don't you just submit it to the FBI if your crime stats are good? You would want people to know, especially if you're a tourist city, you'd want people to know it's safe. You wouldn't want them to know, oh, it looks like this might be safe, but they don't submit it to the FBI, so I don't know, it looks like it might be safe. And that's basically what they're doing. But at least as far as the downtown goes, it was cute. It was relatively clean. There were patches where they, should have sent somebody out. But if most of it's clean, maybe they got somebody that goes out and cleans and they just didn't get to those parts or whatever yet. But the worst thing when you see the school's at 30%, and then they're trying to tell you that the crime is good, I have a hard time believing that, because if you're graduating, if 2 out of every 3 graduate, and if only 4 out of every 5 actually finish high school, and then 2 out of every 3 of that, can't read or do math, they're not going to be productive members of society, and the crime is going to go up just for that reason alone. So I have a hard time believing that the stats are as that website. Look at this dude riding his bike down the middle of the road here on the left, holding up all the traffic. I think he's on, that must be an electric bike, but he isn't going very fast. So I have a hard time believing though that the numbers are as they are just by looking at the school statistics, which is a stat that they did release, or that was public knowledge. So we're out of town now a little bit, and we're not even in a good part of town where anything looks good. It's kind of just industrial, and it looks like they're just doing a lot of construction. So I'm going to stop this video here, and I hope you enjoyed that drive through Savannah. It's a nice looking city. Sorry I didn't have any crime stats for you, or I did, but I don't know that they were accurate. But you can only do what you can do, and if the city doesn't want to release it, the city doesn't want to release it. So thanks for watching.